Hello, 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 my stamping friends. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind schedule today, but I'm still here. I'm still live. Yay. Hope you are able to hop on and join me. Not sure if I'm going to be able to see your comments tonight. My feed got a little messed up, and if not, I will hop on afterwards and answer questions and chime in, all that kind of good stuff as best that I can. Tonight I'm going back to the annual catalog for some stuff. We're going to go check out the suite, or the whole entire suite collection is called Florals in Bloom. And I have just a little part of it that I'm going to share with you today. It's going to be starting on page 42 of the annual catalog. I have this bundle, the Pretty Florals. There's another bundle in there that's called Sweet Blooms. And then it comes with in color dots, this really awesome DSP. And what's really kind of neat about that DSP is that it has pretty much every in color that is current. The ones that are about to, the brand new ones, and then also the ones that will retire in the when this catalog is over. So I wanted to go through some of those because if you are a fan of some of those in colors that will be heading out, you might want to think about stocking up on some stuff beforehand before they run out. Oh, hi Tina, glad you can jump on tonight. Let's see. Here I am. Yep. So like I said, Pretty Florals is the stamp set I'm going to be using tonight. And I'm going to combine that with, because there's no words in this one, I'm going to combine it up with banner sayings. So my phrases come from here, the banner sayings set, but the images will all be from Pretty Florals. And again, everything is that DSP. I forgot to jot down the name of that one, of course, but it is called Florals in Bloom. Just like the Sweet Collection. I guess that makes sense. All right, let's go over what we needed for tonight. You want to have a card base that is 5 1/8 by 8, I'm sorry, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. There we go. And score that at 4 1/4. I'm going to be using basic beige. And then you want 2 DSP or cardstock combinations. The first one, you're going to cut 2 pieces 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. And the next one, you're going to cut pieces that are 2 1/2 by 1 1/2. So for that one, I took one of the DSPs that has these colors of flowers in it. So there is that set for me. And then you're going to take another DSP or cardstock and then cut 2 pieces that are 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. I have Shy Shamrock and then a 2 by 2 square. So again, that's Shy Shamrock for me. Then you want a neutral that is 2 by 2. My neutral for in this case is going to be Very Vanilla. And if you need something for the inside, remember you can do a 4 by 5 1/4 piece if you want something for the base of that colored cardstock to be able to stamp and or write in the inside. On that neutral piece, we're going to fill that with your phrase, images, etc., whatever you want to have handy for that. And then I said grab some ribbon. We're going to add a little knot or a bow to something. I'm going to be using this Secret Sea woven ribbon that you can find in the annual catalog. All right, let me grab my scratch paper so I don't stamp directly on my vinyl-y thing because that won't work out too well. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do my phrase so that I know where my images want to go. And I forgot to take it off my doohickey. That's the word for it, right? You can call that a doohickey. You know, I like to make up words. All right, I'm going to turn this into a birthday card. And I'm going to take my Secret Sea ink pad and my happy birthday phrase that again comes from banner sayings. I'm going to put that in the corner like so. And then I'm going to set that aside and I'm going to stamp some flowers. Now these are two-step stamping. So you have solid pieces and then you have pieces that will overlay on it. Hi, Amy. Hi, Karen. Thank you for popping in. And you're going to layer over that. So that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to start with Shy Shamrock and my solid image. And I'm going to stamp that first onto my scratch paper and then onto my cardstock. That's going to lighten it up a little bit so that when I go ahead and use the other piece with the details in it, it's going to, it's going to look like 2 colors. Okay. but I just got 2 colors out of 1 color. So that's kind of a cool way to do it. Of course, the other way to do that would be to pair up 2 colors that go really nicely together. For example, in the green family, that could be like Old Olive and Mossy Meadow, and that sort of thing. You'll be building these flowers. In the purples, the Highland Heather Gorgeous Grape is a really good combination. So that's one way to get 2 tones. You either do it via the, whoops, that stamp isn't totally on there. Using either 1 or 2 ink colors. Just remember to stamp off first. And I'm going to go in with Secret C for my stems, but I want to have it a little bit lighter. So again, I'm going to stamp that off just a little bit. And then, okay, I'm going to pull it a little more towards me. Hopefully I get this lined up pretty good because I'm kind of looking at it from an angle. Yay, I did it. That angle over my camera isn't always the best for stamping. So, but yay, I got it on there. All right, so now that we have our 2x2 piece all ready to go, we can start doing our layout. Now you're gonna take your card base, give that a little burnish so it's nice and crispy for you. Crispy? Whatever, what's the word I'm looking for? You know what I mean. Okay, first I want you to lay out some things before we actually tack anything down so that you get a handle on how the spacing is going to work. Okay, so of the pieces that are in the 1 color, you're going to take the longer piece, that is the 1.5 by 2.5. That's going to go right in there. Or did I say 2 1/8? I'm sorry if I wrote that down wrong. It might be 2 1/8 because my notes say one thing and my thingy said another. So if you had cut something that's 2.5, don't worry, it might be 2 1/8. I don't have my ruler handy. I will edit this in the comments if I'm wrong. Okay, so that's going to end up near the top. Your opposite colors of the 1.5 squares are going to surround it. So play with the spacing till it's where you want it, and then you're going to tack it down. So there should be even spacing all the way around each of those. Creased. Yes, Amy. Thank you. Creased, not crispy. I don't know why. Nothing with cardstock should be crispy, ever, I don't think. Oi. All right, there we go. So those guys are going to go on either side of that. Hi, Connie. Thank you for popping in. And Connie is a fellow demonstrator who is celebrating her, was it 20th? Stampiversary, as we call it. 20 years with the company. That's pretty cool. Congratulations, Connie. That's awesome. All right. Yeah, right. I just found your comment, Amy. Yeah, long time no see. I know it's been a few hours. I was on a crafty retreat with my Stampin' bestie, Amy Rich, and a friend, and we got so much creativity done. Oh my gosh, it was so awesome. Okay, now we're going to take that 2x2 square that matches these guys, and we're going to center it under that with just a little gap in between. And then these 2 pieces, are going to go over on here. You can decide if you actually want them to line up with one of them or if you just want to center around the square. That's totally up to you. Nuts? I don't know, Connie. I don't know if it's nuts, but it is pretty cool. All right, I'm going to have mine be kind of centered. Okay. So there is our basic background using those 2 DSP or cardstock combinations. If you did cardstock and you want to maybe dress it up a little bit, you could tone on tone stamp. You could send it through an embossing machine, your embossing folder, get a little texture into it, that kind of thing. But yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys have come up with for this. So then you're going to take your 2x2, that square that you have decorated, and you can decide if you want to layer it here or layer it here. Okay, I'm going to put mine down over here for this purpose. And then we're going to take that ribbon and add a little knot or a little bow wherever it makes sense with what you have laid out. Well, with your stamping, with your layout. If you've got something you want to accent with a knot or a ribbon, that makes sense, like this floral image. Otherwise, I'll show you in 1 second once I get remember I'm using a Secret C ribbon from the annual catalog. And my glue dots. All right, I'm going to find my glue dot. There it is. Funny story, when I was at my retreat this weekend, I keep a stash of supplies at our lake home so that I don't have to carry a bunch of things back and forth. But I found a roll of glue dots so old that, as I said to Amy, they're on the wrong side. Do you remember when you used to peel this away and the dots were on this part and not the part that went off to the side? That's how old the glue dots are. They live up there. All right. Otherwise, if you don't want to accent something that you have on your images here, you can accent one of the spaces. So you could do a bow on either side of your square image. So something like that, just to highlight one of the spaces that you've got going on there. All right. So that is your basic layout for tonight. And like I said, I might have this measurement wrong. That might be, where did it go? 2 1/8. So I will correct that, double check that and correct that on the, when I post it. Because I think my one note says one thing and my one note says another note says the other thing. So sorry about that mix up in case that messed someone up. So if you did cut it, hopefully it's the right size. Yes, they actually did still work, Amy. It was just the funniest thing because I was so confused. I kept unrolling it going, where are the glue dots? And then my hand got sticky and I went, oh, there they are. All right, let's go through a couple other samples. Here is one. So remember, I'm using the same stamp sets and DSP throughout. We're going to be seeing a lot of all of the in colors. So for example, this was Shy Shamrock. This should be the Peach Pie. And then the Secret Sea is in the floral pieces here. And then a little bit of cloud cover is peeking in there as well. All right, for this one here, we've got a little bit of Strawberry Slush happening. And I paired that with Granny Apple Green and a little bit of Pretty in Pink. I have these guys here. I stamped tone on tone on the pink squares. So that's the Pretty in Pink. And then I'd use Pretty in Pink here and Strawberry Slush to create the 2 layers of that. And then I grabbed those flat pearls that I showed you in the catalog. And I have a couple of those happening there. And those are that Strawberry Slush color again. And the ribbon for this one, it comes in a pack along with Misty Moonlight. You get 1 roll of white, 1 roll of Misty Moonlight, and they're each 1/4 inch wide. And that's one of the few white ribbons that we have, and I absolutely love it. All right, on to this one. This one's going to have Darling Duckling. So that is your in color on this one. And this particular sheet has so many green colors in it. There's kind of a lot of different ways you can go with it. I chose to highlight the Granny Apple Green. So again, I have that. And then I grabbed Crim Cake. This DSP is from Delicate Dreams. It's one that's going to be coming out in the March exclusives that you'll be able to have access to in a couple weeks. But I really like that look of that. It's kind of almost like a linen kind of look there. So I brought in a little bit of that. And then this white and gold ribbon kind of ends up looking in a little bit in the tan family once those 2 colors are met together. So I thought that blended in really nicely with the Crumb Cake that, excuse me, that we've got going on in this particular DSP. All right, then this is one of my favorites that I made. So I took pieces from the DSP itself and did a little bit of fussy cutting. So this features Cloud Cover and Secret Sea. So this is the DSP from the Florals in Bloom pack. And then from another sheet of Florals in Bloom, I cut out a couple pieces that were like on the edge of the DSP, and I added them to the edge of cardstock instead. So those are still my 1.5 inch squares, but then I added the little bit of DSP to those, and again down here too. And then using the dies, I die cut that flower. My voice is getting scratchy, sorry. Out of Cloud Cover and Secret Sea. And then I used the Cloud Cover ribbon that is in the annual catalog to finish that one off right there. That one was my favorite. And then the basic beige on the background. All right, and then I want to see if I didn't notice any. Okay, then what we did for this last one is I flipped the direction, courtesy of a suggestion from Ms. Rich, who I mentioned earlier. As I said, I wanted to do something different for my last one. She's like, why don't you turn it the other direction? I said, that is a brilliant idea. So this features Petunia Pop and Bubble Bath, which is not one of the end colors, but it's what's in this particular DSP right here. So I used also the Subtles DSP so that I could pull Bubble Bath out of it. And I backed my DSP squares from Florals in Bloom with a little bit of Secret Sea. And then it's on a Petunia Pop card base. And then, of course, my phrase again comes from the banner sayings, sorry. All right, so there's that one. Let's go back to the first one we did, and then I will show you how I stepped that one up. So I did a layer behind this particular one right here. For these guys here, I used my Stylish Shapes dies to cut out that 1.5-inch square. So it's got that neat little dotted pattern going across it. And then on the other ones, the Shy Shamrock DSP, I ran that through the embossing folder that's called Beautiful Pattern. And that created that really cute little hash mark sort of, I can't remember what you want to call it. Actually, it looks more quilted maybe. A little bit of a quilted pattern, let's say. And then instead of stamping directly onto the neutral piece, I stamped them and die cut them instead. So same concept, stamped off of the ones, did that first there. And then, excuse me, with this bow, I added it to my flowers instead. And then I put one little gemstone on there just for a little bit of sparkle. All right, so that is going to do it for tonight. Let me read through these again here. So I wanted to, like I said, this particular DSP collection has all of the in colors. It was kind of crazy once I was actually looking at it and going, they are all in here. That is just nuts. But oops, that one goes that way. And then there's lastly that one. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your week. I hope you all had a good weekend as well. I forgot to mention that on the top of the broadcast here, that I hope everyone had a great weekend. And because I did, I really, really did. It was so great to have just all the creativity that was flowing between us. Some of the other girls got some really great scrapbooking done. I made some things for Christmas. I know it's already only February, but I actually made some Christmas ornaments. It was just a crafty, awesome experience for the weekend. All right. Like I said, that'll do it for me for tonight, guys. I hope to see you again live next week, Monday. Take care, everyone.